Faith Search Discovery, I've been doing it for a couple years. Those of you that know me know that I started doing this in 1976. Some of you weren't even born then. You weren't born then. So this even precedes you. But it's more relevant today, I think, than it was at any time during the times that I've been presenting it, based on the culture and based on the way people ask questions and the issues that are involved and so forth. You have in your hand the text or the book that has most of the information that I'll be sharing with you, but pedagogy-wise, no teacher wants to have their students reading a book while they're talking. It's difficult. So, I'm going to refer you on the screen to the pages, for example, right over there. In that corner, you'll see that little book on a lot of the slides, and it will be an indication of what page you'd find that information on in the book that you received tonight. In addition to that, there is, for those of you that might want to teach, or you have a small group that meets in your home or in your church or whatever, and you'd like to teach this yourself, there is an optional event resource called the Participant Guide. And there's basically the notes of the presentation and then the discoveries, because then you kind of have a take-home piece. You have something that has everything that you went through in your own handwriting as well. So know that that's on the table. You can wait till afterwards and take a look at it if you'd like to see if it would be worthwhile and if you have an application that might be helpful for that. Faith Search Discovery is discovering the aha of life. Do you realize that aha is almost a universal exclamation of discovery? I've been in India, I've been in the Marshall Islands, I've been in Japan, I've been all over. And when I say aha, they all know what it means. 10 times, tonight and next week, we're going to have the aha appear on the screen. And when you see it, your participation is? Aha. There you go, aha. And I know that's below some of your dignities. You just can't bring yourself to do that. But try real hard, because I want you to participate in the 10 discoveries. Also, if you are here tonight and you have been in the church for years, or you've been a Christian for years, wonderful, I'm glad you're here. I hope I can share some things with you that will give you even a step up, a deeper walk. However, if you're here tonight and you're a skeptic, even if you're an atheist, I'm just glad you're here. In this presentation and discovery, you will not find anything jammed down your throat. You have lots of choice, and I'm not going to push. But I do think that anyone who rejects the Christian faith, as I did, for I went through college and most of my graduate work through my PhD as a skeptic of Christianity, not trusting the Bible as a reliable source of information about Jesus, about the history. So I know where you're at. But I want you to know, if you're going to reject Christianity, I want to make sure through this presentation you know what you're rejecting. Because some people reject Christianity because they had a bad experience with somebody who was a Christian, and therefore I don't want anything to do with it. Or for many other reasons. Reject Christianity for the right reason. It's not true. And I want to demonstrate to you through Faith Search Discovery the reasons why I found it to be true eventually and turned my life in the direction of being a follower of Jesus Christ as a Christian. So that's Thomas, you know? You and I were not the only skeptics that ever showed up on planet Earth. Thomas, remember what he was called? The guy in the Bible? Doubting Thomas. And he wasn't there when the others said that Jesus had resurrected from the dead. He said, I won't believe it. He said it like this: unless I see the nail marks in his hands and put my finger where the nails were and put my hand into his side, I will not believe it. And Jesus, if you remember, said, Thomas, I'm so sorry you feel that way. Why don't you get lost? Remember when he said that? No, even Jesus was sensitive and Jesus was patient, and he said to Thomas this, Thomas, put your finger here, see my hands. Reach out your hand and put it into my side. Stop doubting and believe. In other words, Jesus said, Thomas, you need evidence? Come and get it. And then respond. And of course, Thomas did respond. He responded with the, aha, he said, my Lord and my God. So that, of course, is my heart wish for everyone here. But I can't make that choice for you. You'll have to make that choice. I hope I can make it easy for you to do so. We're going to start with chapter 1. Good place to start. Why am I here? I always stop there because it sounds like you're saying, yeah, why am I here? No, this does not mean, why are you here tonight? This is asking the question, why do I exist at all? That's what we're talking about. What's the purpose and so forth for my existence? Now, in order for us to get along very well here, we're going to need to talk. I want you, first of all, to use your imagination. Maybe we should get the kids. They're better at this. We have to settle for you. Use your imagination and try to imagine that nothing exists. What you're seeing on the screen is what you were supposed to be imagining, that nothing exists. So let's check it out and see if you get it. If that represents nothing, what's in the triangle? Nothing. Remember? This is supposed to represent nothing. What's outside the triangle? Nothing. Is there a triangle? No. So you have to fool yourself. So there's nothing. And suddenly into this nothingness, now we're not there, we're not in control, but suddenly some dirt shows up into this nothingness. The only thing that exists in this imaginary universe is dirt. All right, talk to me now. What is the purpose in that imaginary universe for dirt? Not a thing, but don't give up so easy. Try harder.
Provide home for the worms.
There you go. Home for the worms. Very good answer. What else could it be? Gravity? Well, I suppose that's a possibility, yes. How about to grow things? Okay. Do we have any worms? Do we have anything that grows? No, just dirt, right? Therefore, my position on you is what you answered in the first place. You're going to have a hard time finding any purpose for dirt in an imaginary universe where that's the only thing that exists. Because most things find purpose within relationship with something else. So, what if into this nothingness suddenly comes some grass? Now, the dirt now has a purpose. That is to grow grass, or enlarge it if you want, to plants. We solved the problem of soil, of dirt. But what's the purpose for the grass? That's right, it's for golf. But the problem is what? What's the problem? We don't have any golfers. We have no golfers. So there must be some other reason for grass. You're giving up so easily. Huh? To feed animals. Oh, I see. You read the book, huh? You know, yeah, but we don't have any animals unless they suddenly show up, right? Then we solve the problem of the grass. It's there to feed the animals. But now we've created a new problem. Again, what's the purpose for animals? And by this time, you begin to say to yourself, this is real deep. This is really dumb. It's a dumb illustration. Why? Well, because everybody knows if you had people in this imaginary universe, you'd solve everything. The dirt is there so the plants can grow. The plants are there to feed the animals so they can live. And the dirt and the plants and the animals are there for people so they can enjoy purpose and meaning for their lives. which is, by the way, what? What are the people doing in there?
Eating the animals.
That's right. Somebody has to feed the animals, and somebody has to mow the lawn. Somebody has to dig in the dirt. You see, people won't solve the problem. Why? Because everything you and I could imagine that would go into an imaginary universe ends up being finite, limited, dependent on other things outside of themselves in order to find purpose and meaning. What is the purpose and meaning for the people, for any of those things, if that's all that exists? Now the kicker. It's not an imaginary world. That's our world. And there are voices everywhere that are saying, that's all there is. There is nothing more. And you're supposed to figure out from the cradle to the grave what your life is all about and why you're here. What's your purpose? What's your meaning? You see, there are philosophies that are rampant throughout our educational systems and throughout people's minds in which they say secular humanism or Marxism will say there's no God. You have scientific naturalism says there's no such thing as the supernatural. There's only the natural. And then you'll have people like materialists who say there's no such thing as the spiritual. When you die, you're done. There's nothing to continue beyond death. And so as a result, we get signs like this from the Minnesota atheists. You were born without gods. Why don't you learn to live with it? Right? But if there's no God, if there's no supernatural, if there is no spiritual, and what you see in that triangle is all there is, then guess what? Death wins. How often? For who? Everybody. 100%. There are no exceptions. Death becomes the most triumphant and victorious force known in the universe. For the plants die, the animals die, the people die, and no one can stop it. Is that something that people generally recognize? Yes, but we have a tendency to ignore or suppress it. Blackham, he was the former director of the Humanist Association, doesn't believe in God. He was asked, what about your life? What is its purpose? And he says, well, it's just the pointlessness of it all. Or Bertrand Russell, the British mathematician and philosopher, was asked the same problem. He says it's the problem of unyielding despair. They do not have an answer when it comes to a purpose and meaning. Woody Allen had a little more humorous one. It's not that I'm afraid to die, I just don't want to be there when it happens. Yeah, you can ignore it all you want to. It's humorous rhyme, into this world to eat and to sleep and to know no reason why he was born, say to consume the corn, devour the cattle, flock and fish, and to leave behind an empty dish. Now, if you came here this evening and you really were, your life has been pretty good to you, and you're pretty happy, you say, I'm determined before you leave tonight that you will be very sad. I'm going to take all that away from you and make life miserable for you. No, I would try not to, but sometimes we need to be shaken. Oh, what's this? Aha! Discovery number one. Death is the ultimate and final conqueror if the finite world is all there is. In other words, the first discovery is to point out to all of us, to wake us up from a sleep. Death is, as they always say, like taxes, they're inevitable. Is there an answer? Is there something that can be done with that? That's what we want to look at.